All right, so in this video, we're going to go through the biomechanical principles related to the concepts of balance and stability. So there'll be some definitions on the board as to what is balance, the different types of balance there are, what is stability, and how all this is applied to sports performance. Let's go. All right, so the first concepts that we're going to look at here, we've got balance and stability, all right? These are going to form the core of what we're going to cover in the next bit. So balance is the ability to stay upright, okay? That is maintaining equilibrium. A lot of the times the word balance and equilibrium can sort of be substituted one for another, okay? So if you see the word equilibrium, just remember that means balance, and balance means to stay upright. So right now, I'm in balance. If I was talking to you and I fell over, I lost balance. Silly me. Next one, we've got stability. So stability is the ability to remain in balance while you're moving, okay? So in the next bit, I'm going to demonstrate to you how you alter your stability to increase the amount of speed that you are traveling, and there is a certain point in that where you would then become unbalanced, or you lose equilibrium and then you fall over. Silly me. So static and dynamic balance, you can sort of think of these in general concepts. Static balance is basically balance while you're not moving. Okay, so right now, I'm in static balance. My feet are not moving. My connection with the ground is probably a better way of putting it. My connection with the ground is not moving. So it doesn't matter that I'm doing this, right? I'm still in a static balance position, all right? So common examples would be like a handstand, so like a gymnast who go up into handstands or whatever, or simply standing still. Dynamic balance, though, is maintaining your equilibrium while you're moving, okay? So for example, when you're running, if you're doing hurdles, so you run and you jump and you run and you jump, or even if you do a long jump and you like jump and then land into the pit, how can you maintain your dynamic balance as you hit the sand instead of falling backwards? Okay, because you fall backwards in long jump, you lose points. Well, you don't lose points, you're literally shortchanging your score. But that doesn't matter. So they're the concepts of balance and stability. So these concepts seem really hard, but they're actually really easy to understand. First of all, we've got the center of gravity. You've probably heard this at some point in your life by now, someone talking about center of gravity, all right? The center of gravity, forever and forward referred to as the cog, is the point of an object or a body where weight is evenly distributed in all directions, okay? Everybody's center of gravity in their body is generally around here, just above the belly button, okay? If you change when you're standing upright, I should say, when you change the way that you are standing, okay, so if I was to like sit down, my center of gravity is no longer here, okay? If my center of gravity stayed here, like inside my body, in like just above my belly button, and I sat down, well, my center of gravity is now at the back, like, because you can imagine if I try and sit down, I'm trying to do it, right? If I try and sit down, but my center of gravity stays here, well, the weight is no longer evenly distributed in all directions, and I would fall backwards. So what happens is as I sit down, my center of gravity moves in front of me, okay, to stop me from falling over, all right? And then as I come up, it stays there, down, up, all right? The center of gravity is important for this concept of line of gravity. The line of gravity is an imaginary line that travels straight down from the center of gravity of the body or an object to the ground, okay? So if my center of gravity is here, my line of gravity is going straight down and it lands smack bang between my feet right now, okay? If I then went to a sitting position, my center of gravity, I have to push it out in front of me for me to sit down, okay? So let's say my center of gravity is like here now, here. The line of gravity is now probably more towards my toes, okay, as opposed to being smack bang in the middle of my feet. The base of support is like an imaginary area which surrounds the outside edge of an object or a body when in contact with the ground, okay? So I've got a couple of pictures here to try and demonstrate this, and we'll do some more activities in class around it. So this is a soccer ball, okay? It's a very bad soccer ball. I'm not a great drawer, you know that by now. On the ground, this is ground. This is not water, it's ground. When the soccer ball is on the ground and it's not moving, Okay, it is stationary. It's probably important to write there, stationary. Okay? If the ball is stationary, it means that the center of gravity of the ball has to be smack bang in the middle of it, about here, and traveling straight down. Now, if that ball was like rolling forward, its center of gravity would be over here somewhere. Okay, and that is assisting the ball in moving in that direction. So for now, this is the center of gravity here, right in the middle of the ball. Weight is evenly distributed in all directions. The line of gravity goes straight down. It lands right in the middle of the ball on the ground, and therefore no movement occurs. This is important, this part. So hopefully you wrote that down. If you didn't, rewind, listen to it again, and write it down. If we look at this same ball from like the ground up, so imagine that like you're under the ground, or the ground is like made of glass and you can lay under it, and you're looking up now at the soccer ball on the ground. This is the contact point, this solid pink circle here, okay? This is the contact point of where the ball is on the ground. Around the ball, so this squiggly stuff here, all right, I'll do it in blue too, this is the base of support. So even though this is the part that's in contact with the ground, the size of the ball and the mass of the ball is this large, so therefore this is its base of support. Now, if we take that same example and we look at a human, all right, this is me. My center of gravity, we have identified, is going to be about here if I'm standing upright. My line of gravity goes straight down between my legs, okay? Center of gravity, line of gravity. Once again, if we had put glass on the floor and we looked up, these are my feet. Okay, yes, I don't have the same shaped feet apparently. My center of gravity is pushing down, and therefore it hits the ground and it makes my line of gravity about here. So therefore, wherever the line of gravity is, wherever the contact points are, we have a base of support. So the base of support goes around my feet like this, all right? Now I need you to have these drawings in your books because I'm about to rub them off and do some more drawings to further this concept, all right? Outfit change, yes, no, so I wasn't happy with how this section of the previous video turned out, so here I am wasting more of my time refilming it. It's all right, it's my fault, it's not yours. I want you guys to have the best information you have. So anyway, here we go. How movement occurs, all right? So we're looking at concepts of balance and stability. Motion occurs, so motion is movement, when the line of gravity is moved outside of the base of support. So if we just look, here is I've got three pictures here: normal stance, narrow stance, wide stance. Here is our normal stance, just the way I'm standing right now, normal. The normal way that you would stand when you're walking around or whatever, okay? My line of gravity, as you should know by now, generally falls straight between my ankles, okay? Now, if I move my line of gravity forward by like tilting forward, you know, like this, my line of gravity is moving from the inside of my torso out here, but I'm not actually moving, okay? You can see my heels are starting to lift off the ground the more and more I go forward, and if I keep lifting my heels and pushing my line of gravity, and then eventually I have to move, okay? Now what happens then, you can all do this at home if you want, you've got nothing better to do with your lives, you can sort of push your line of gravity forward to the point, and then you step forward. Why do you step forward? To stop you falling over. Because if I just kept doing this, and like, let's say my legs were tied with like, oh, you should do this at home for fun, and then film it and send it to me and I'll have a good laugh. Except onto a bed or something, because I don't actually want you to get hurt, even though, anyway, moving on. Tie your legs together and then tilt forward. And then instead of you being able to actually take that accommodating step to stop you falling over, you're actually going to fall over. So what's happening is you're pushing your line of gravity forward. This is moving forward, forward, forward to the base of support. And then it gets to the edge of the base of support. And this is like that teetering point. And then I just push it forward a little bit more. And the instant the line of gravity falls outside of my current base of support, movement or motion occurs. All right? The further the line of gravity moves outside the base of support, the faster you are required to move to remain in equilibrium, okay? To remain, upright. So if I'm just pushing it forward slowly, and I do this and I'm okay, all right? Or if I'm walking, I'm only pushing it out a little bit in front of my, I just walked away from the camera, that was dumb. If I'm walking, I'm only pushing it out a little way, all right? So I don't have to move fast. But the further I push it outside here, the faster my legs have to turn and the more angle I have to develop in my body, all right? So if you look at like a walker compared to like a jogger, compared to like a sprinter, all right? A sprinter is pushing their line of gravity way out forward and they are going hell for leather as fast as they can, all right? So their line of gravity is going to be like up here off the board, quite out far. But same again, they've got to accommodate for that by taking bigger steps and faster steps forward and forward and forward and forward and keep going, all right? Or have you ever seen videos of like people who've like tripped on something going backwards, all right? And then they keep doing these ones, like back, and then eventually they lose the fight and they fall on their butts. It's the same thing, right? So they're developing momentum over time. Their line of gravity's gone out the back here and they're trying to keep up, and eventually they can't and then they fall over, all right? So the further the line of gravity falls outside the base of support, the faster you're required to move, or the faster you move in general, all right? However, stability also decreases the further the line of gravity moves outside of the base of support. So there's a trade-off here. You can go faster for less stability. If you cannot move fast enough to accommodate the line of gravity, you do fall over, all right? So eventually, like if I told you guys to all run as fast as you could, probably no one's going to actually fall over in a straight line, right? Why? Because your nervous system has developed these safeguards that tells your body that this is as fast as I can go without falling over. So it doesn't actually let you fall over. Your nervous system is an amazing thing, right? The amount of things it does in a day to save your butts from getting hurt is phenomenal, and you'll never know, all right? It'd be cool if you had like a little device you could wear and be like, beep, I just saved your life, beep, I just saved your life. Anyway, oh, that's so random. So, the point being, the faster you move, the more instability you develop, but the faster you can go. And then eventually you will get to a point where if you could push past that, you would probably fall over on your face or on your heels or whatever. So let's look at how your base of support can be manipulated to alter this, all right? Normal stance, okay? You'll see that my base of support, remember my base of support surrounds my contact points with the ground and the mass of the object, all right? So my normal stance has pretty much equal bases of support in any direction, all right? I can move forward a bit, I can rock back a bit, I can go to the side, and I can go to the side. So as I'm doing this, what's happening is my base of support is going forward, back, side, side. But at no point is it falling outside my base of support, and therefore I'm not actually moving, all right? I'm sort of like moving on the spot. I'm sort of wiggling around, but I'm not actually causing movement. Now, if I push my base support way out to the side, eventually I fall, okay? And I've got to accommodate that by stepping out. Once again, if I tied my shoes together and I did this, then I'm not going to do it because I don't actually want to fall. There's a chair there, I'd hit my head. Anyway, you get the point. So how do we manipulate this to develop performance and stability? So next one we're going to look at is a narrow stance. So now instead of me just standing normal, shoulder width apart, whatever, I'm going to put my feet together, okay? Who puts their feet together? Sprinters, hurdlers, long jumpers. Why is that? Why do they put their feet together? Well, what it does is that when you manipulate the contact point with the ground, you are actually also changing your base of support. So it's the same person, but now I've got a narrow stance. So what that does, it narrows my base of support to the sides, but it increases the base of support I've got going forwards and backwards, all right? So in this type of stance, I can only go a little bit this way before falling, but I can go much further forward, all right? Look at like limbo, right, is a perfect example of this. I suck at limbo because I've got very, very bad lower back flexibility. But you look at, you know, dun, 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 and then they do, you know, you guys played limbo before. So what's happening is with those narrow feet and bending the legs and pushing the center of gravity forward, they're trying to increase this, but keep the line of gravity inside the base of support, all right? If they don't, and it comes out the back here, well, they fall backwards. Yeah, limbo, great game. Not for me though. Anyway, where was I going with this? Right, so sprinters and hurdlers and all the people that want to move fast in one direction, they have narrow stance because it increases their base of support forwards and backwards. And what that means is that they're able to push their line of gravity out further in front of them with less effect on their stability, which means they can move faster for the same amount of stability. So let's say with this stance, I could run at 9 kilometers per hour. But if I ran at 10 kilometers per hour, I would fall over because that's too far, too fast for my stability to account for. But if I have got a narrow stance, I might be able to run at 11 or 12 kilometers per hour and still remain stable because I've got more leeway with my base of support. However, you can see that due to the narrower stance, I've got less base of support on either side of my feet. So if someone was to come along and just push me, well, that wouldn't be very good. So what you don't see in this case is put it in like the context of rugby league, you don't see people coming in for tackles with their feet together and trying to fend off somebody because they're just going to get trampled over. But what you do see is people coming in for tackles and taking a wide stance before they connect. Why is that? Well, if we take a wide stance, so my line of gravity is here, heading down towards the ground, but now I am very stable, okay? I can't move forward and backwards as much as I could as my narrow stance, all right? And you can practice this yourself if you want. But my side to side is, I can't even push myself out far enough to my side to make myself fall or move, all right? So what's happening is I'm going like this, this. I can't get it out there, all right? Well, that one I probably can, but anyway, you get the point. So with our wide stance, people use wider stances to increase their stability. However, same trade-off here. What happens if you've got a wider stance and increased stability? Less motion and therefore less speed. You don't see sprinters sprinting down the 100-meter track with their feet out wide. Why? Because it slows them down, right? They don't have that ability to push their line of gravity forward past their base of support far enough to develop speed, acceleration, velocity, etc. So, in summary, movement occurs when the line of gravity, which is straight down from your center of gravity, falls outside the base of support. Athletes can manipulate their base of support to either make themselves go faster in one direction, or they can edit it to make themselves more stability or more stable at the cost of speed and acceleration. And that is how the principles of motion make movement. Thanks.